Well, thank you for being here and joining us this evening, everyone. My name is Audrey DeBarros. I'm the Executive Director of Commuting Solutions. We are pleased to be hosting this How to Ride RTD event for you this evening. Commuting Solutions is a transportation management organization for the Northwest Metro region of Denver, and we work closely with RTD, CDOT, and all of our jurisdictional partners to advance transportation, multimodal transportation in this Northwest Metro region. And as a nonprofit, part of our mission is to reduce traffic congestion and improve air quality, which relates to how or why we are here tonight, which is really to try to inspire the public to consider riding transit. We're really excited to have Christina with RTD here tonight to provide us with a How to Ride RTD in the Northwest Metro region presentation for you. But while we're waiting for a few more folks to join us, I just wanted to thank 5 of our local jurisdictions who partner with Commuting Solutions to host tonight's event, including the City of Lafayette, City of Longmont, City of Louisville, Town of Superior, and the City and County of Broomfield. So we do thank them for their partnership to host tonight's event. For those of you who stick around till the end, we are giving away a free RTD 10 ride ticket book. So do stick around till the end, and then I'll be drawing a name for the lucky winner. So while we're waiting for hopefully a few more folks to join in, I thought we'd open by learning a little bit about the people who have joined us so far. So it would be of interest if you could tell us your name, where you live, and if there's, well, one question or one thing you would hope to learn from this webinar. So I'll just call your name, and if you could please respond, that would be terrific. So I'll start with Jan Weiland.
Hi, thanks for doing this. I just haven't, I used to live by the bus schedule and took the bus from Longmont to downtown Denver 5 days a week for years and years and years. And I just haven't ridden for a few years now, and just was wondering if there was anything new that I should know about, because I was showing my grandchildren how to do this. So
Great.
Anyway, that's all.
Thank you for joining us. Barb, can you introduce yourself, please? Barb, if you're there, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us if there's a question you have or one thing you'd like to learn from tonight's webinar. I'll go on to Drew Lane. We have folks who, yeah, maybe they're just busy doing other things. Hi, Karen, thank you for joining us.
Hi, I'll say hello. I'm Karen with Boulder Transportation Connections, a little just down the road. I'm from 36. We're the TMO for the City of Boulder area, and I was intrigued. I think this is a great webinar that you're doing, and I was intrigued to see what it was like, and yeah, just I think it's a really wonderful service that you're doing, and it also made me think about having potentially a similar one on EcoPass, doing like a video on either the business or the neighborhood EcoPass program too, which might be maybe something that people on the call might want to know about too, the various, and that might be covered as well too, the various past programs available and so forth. So thanks again for providing this service.
Thank you. Hi, Alyssa, welcome.
Hi, Audrey. Yeah, my name is Alyssa Vogan. I work for the Town of Superior as their sustainability analyst, but I actually live in Lakewood, Colorado, and I'm interested. To be honest, the last time I rode on RTD was just to the airport from near my house. But other than that, I don't know if I've ever even been on a bus in the Denver region. So I am attending to learn more for myself and how I could possibly commute more using RTD.
Great, thank you, Alyssa. And Drew, if you're there, would you introduce yourself? Otherwise, we'll just proceed with our presentation. All right, did I miss DJ? I just wanted to make sure I'm including everyone.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm DJ. We just moved from out of state, and I was just looking on how the transportation works around here, and wondering if how it goes to the airport, and somebody had just mentioned that, so I was interested in that. And I'm in Superior.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to Colorado.
Thank you.
And I see someone with a phone number 720 just joined us. If you could
Hi,
please.
Audrey. Hi, Audrey. It's Sarah Grant, City and County of Broomfield. I'm just here to support you tonight, and really happy that everyone's here to learn more about RTD. And thank you, Christina, for being here. Just here to listen and learn what RTD has to offer, and also hear what others are interested in learning about transit. Personally, I'm a regular commuter of US 36 and also to the airport when hopefully I can take an airplane soon.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us, Sarah. Appreciate it. Well, Christina, how about we dive in with your presentation, and we would welcome your interaction and questions as we go along, so we don't have to save that to the end. This is super informal, meant to be highly educational, so please do chime in as we go along with any questions or comments you might have for Christina. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Audrey. So my name is Christina Zazueta. I am the Community Engagement Manager at RTD. I've been with the agency for about 4.5 years now, and before that I was in a consultant role, but I was also working with RTD on some of their fast tracks projects, which was expanding the rail projects through the region. So I've been around for a while. I do know a little bit of everything, but I don't know all of everything. So I will attempt to answer your questions as we go in depth. I think I got a nice feel for what you guys are looking for this evening, and I think we'll do perfectly fine. As Audrey mentioned, you're welcome to ask your questions as we move along. So let's pretend we're all in the same room tonight. And if you have a question along the way, feel free to ask it then and there. That way we don't forget what the question was. And if the slide that's up applies to it, it's almost better to answer it that way. All right, get my screen moving here. So one of the first things we always like to cover, at least nowadays, is the question that is on a lot of people's minds as they're thinking about, do I get on a bus, do I get on a train? Whether it's been a while or it's one of the first times you're doing it, people want to know, what is RTD doing to keep everyone safe? So we've gone through quite a process this last 1.5 years, and we started off as many agencies did. What is it that we're dealing with, and what's the best way to go about it? So I'm glad to say that we're in a good spot now, and we do know what it is we need to be doing. And part of that is cleaning our vehicles every night. We also clean and sanitize our facilities also every day. And part of the cleaning is that we have a kind of ionized, it looks like a backpack or something out of a movie. It's an ionized cleaner. It creates a bit of a vapor for the cleaner, and it gets into the various areas and cracks that you normally wouldn't clean. So I kind of joke and say, I think our vehicles are cleaner now than they've ever been. And that's a good thing. And we've got a very dedicated staff that go out and clean all the time. We've also installed plexiglass barriers on buses, and that's just for the protection of both our operators and our customers. And this barrier, I think a barrier is kind of an interesting word for it. Really, it's just a cover. It swings open just like a gate, so the operator can come in and out. And it's really easy still to communicate with the operator. You're still able to make eye contact and still hear them pretty well. So it doesn't prohibit any of that exchange. And I'll cover why you might want to be talking to your operator here in just a minute. The face coverings are still required, and that has been extended a couple of times. So first, it was going to expire this year, but of course with the Delta variant, we're now looking at a January 18th expiration date. So that's January 18th this next year, and that is per federal mandate. This is from the Federal Transit Administration, the same folks that have the mandate on airlines and airplanes. So if you have had the luxury of being able to fly somewhere recently, you'll know that as soon as you walk into the airport, you're required to wear a mask, and you're required to do so until you reach your destination and pretty much come out the doors on the other end of that airport. So we're much the same way, of course, not on such a big scale. The biggest difference is that we are not able to enforce it like the airlines and airports are, because we don't have a TSA around. And so we do, of course, have security officers, but they are not at every location. So we are really relying on our customers to be our partners in this and wear masks, of course, at any turn. So this means when you're on the vehicle, when you're on the platform, a train platform, or if you're at a bus stop, and of course, especially if there's someone around you, we all know the rules on distance. And if you're in one of our stations or bus facilities indoors, please wear the mask. So another way that we've really moved on in this whole process is pushing our mobile tickets app. We've made some updates to it, and it's a really great app. You're able to use it for a lot of things, and I'll cover that here in just a second, why it's a pretty good one to have if you're planning on traveling and want to make things a little bit easier. But this is a very simple one. You don't need to use the kiosks, because we have some kiosks where you can push the buttons there. It limits the amount of things you have to have contact with, and of course handling of money is one less thing. All right, so I'll start diving into the general basics here, and unfortunately we can only get our map so big on one of these presentations. Our district is incredibly large. One of our directors kind of jokes that it's the size of Rhode Island, and I don't think he's too far off. I think we're only a couple hundred square miles difference. And so since we cover such a big ground, our map here unfortunately is a little tough to see. I do recommend that you do visit our website, and you'll probably do that as part of your trip planning, so you'll see this on the website. But the map on the right has 3 zones listed in it: Zone A, B, and C. There's a slight distinction. If you can see it, it's a light gray shading for Zone B, just to show the distinction. And what that does is it kind of tells you what you need to be purchasing. So if you're doing a local trip and purchasing that price level or ticket level, what you'll be using is a light rail within 1 or 2 fare zones. You'll be using a local or limited bus route, a local service, or on a regional or a SkyRide bus route. So it's a short trip on one of those. And of course, any FlexRide service, and I'll explain what FlexRide is. The regional route is, of course, a longer distance, and so you might be going almost one end of the district to the other, and that is traveling 3 fare zones. And so in our map, it might be traveling from the very tippy top to the center of town. That would cover 3 fare zones, and that includes regional bus routes, which travel that very same distance, and the SkyRide bus route. Also, another fare zone or fare type is the airport trip, and that is any rail travel to and from the airport fare zone, which is basically Denver International Airport, and any SkyRide bus service to Denver. So they function very similarly, the regional and the airport, meaning that they're very similar in price. And what you can do is look at maybe doing a day pass. So I'll have this here on this chart. This is a little convoluted looking, so I'll spend some extra time here on this one, and definitely stop me if you've got some questions as we move along. So the 3 types of fare that I just explained are listed there at the top. We've got the local bus and rail, regional bus and rail, and then the airport. So what you'll see here at the very left is there is a cash fare, and also a couple others right below it. So the cash fare works for 3 hours. And let's take the local bus and rail there in the first column as an instance. So say you do want to travel on the local, so you're only going 1 or 2 fare zones, and you're buying the adult pass. Well, that'll cost you $3 there in that first column. And it'll work for 3 hours, and you can travel in whatever direction. So if you've got a trip in one direction, and then say you're going to the grocery store, and then you come back on the very same route and you're able to accomplish that in 3 hours, well, it's only $3. Or likewise, if you're traveling across the district and then you've got to jump on a different type of route or a rail system, well, then you can also use the $3 fare there. So again, it's $3 for the 3 hours, easy to remember, and that is for the local bus and rail that covers 2 fare zones. There is a senior/disabled fare, which is 50% off. We also have a multitude of other fares and discounts. Well, I wouldn't say multitude, I'd say a couple more. Those are listed on our website. They didn't fit on this chart, but if you do visit our website and then look up discounts or discount programs, we have one for youth, anybody 19 and younger, have a significant savings. We also have a program called the LIVE program, which is an income-based program. So there is a qualification process for that. And anybody who is maybe applying for other types of programs like the SNAP food program or other assistance program would find the application within the state's application system for the RTD Live program. So essentially, if somebody is applying for one of those programs, they likely may come across the RTD discount program there, and the qualifications are fairly similar, and every year somebody would need to reapply, but that's very similar across the board for all those. So again, they are all on our website, but very good discounts, at least 40%. There's a 50%, and then there's more than that. So across the scale, you can see here going, I guess, to the right, you'll see that the prices go up, of course, depending on the type of fare. You've got the local, of course, the regional and bus, and then the airport. The airport pass, which is $10.50, you'll notice there for the adult, is very much the exact same thing as the day pass for regional. So the day pass is located under regional, bus, and rail under the adult column, third one down, and you'll see it's $10.50. And that is the exact same thing as the airport pass. So those work very similarly. It's the whole day. So say you are coming into town for a while, or have a guest that's coming into town for the weekend, and they decide, okay, I'm getting that airport pass, but they decide in the evening, once they get in town, well, they want to use the bus or rail some more, they can for the price of $10.50 because it's a whole day pass. So those are one little distinction I like to make in case you want to purchase kind of a ticket that does it all. We do have 10 ride ticket books, so Audrey is in possession, I think, of some of those as a prize for this evening. And we also have monthly passes there listed at the bottom. So there's a variety of different types of passes you can purchase, and a lot of these, not all of them, are within the mobile tickets app, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I'd like to stop here just for a second to see if there are any questions, and before I get away here to carry it away. All right, seeing none, that tells me we're on the right track here. It's so far pretty understandable. And again, I'll be happy to hop back onto any of these slides if we need to come back to them. All right, so this breaks down in, I think, a little bit more digestible fashion, the fare payment types. So again, you have a 3-hour pass available to you. And as I mentioned, it's good for unlimited trips on the same service level on either a bus or a train. And when I say same service level, that is referring back to, is it local? So it's good for unlimited trips on a local route for 3 hours, whether it's bus or train. And this replaces the one-way cash fare or the transfers that we used to have. So, we previously would have you pay for a transfer, and you'd have to do this whole step. Well, you can just use that one ticket as long as the stamp on it says it's good within that 3 hours. And there's, again, the day pass. Those are unlimited rides on bus and rail, and that is, the same price as a round trip. So something to consider as you're looking to ride. And then we have the My Ride card. It is very much like a gift card. So much like a Starbucks card or any reloadable gift card, you can put some fare on there. When you want to add some more money, you can do so. You can do so by going to local area grocery stores, King Soopers and Safeway, and adding that over at the grocery stores. You can also add money if you register your card and you add funds online, so you can do it that way. Just know that if you do so, there may be a day or two in which it takes a little bit longer for those funds to load. So you know, if you are more eager to use it and maybe use it instantly, the better option might be for you to go into the grocery store. The benefit of using the MyRide card is it does offer a 25% discount on full cash fare. So you've got a good significant, I think, discount, especially when we're talking about $3, and a 15% discount off of discount fares. So, you know, the discount I mentioned for seniors, right? So if you are a senior, you're paying $1.50, but you're using your MyRide card. So now you are paying, what is that? $1.35. I hope my math was right. And then you've got passes and ticket books, and I think we'll forever have these. So no matter how digital this world gets, we will probably always have the paper passes and the paper ticket books and the passes. And those are easily purchased, again, at any King Superstore, any Safeway store and grocery store. We also have several sales outlets all over the district. One of them being at Denver Union Station in the bus concourse. You can walk down there or any of these outlets and just go ahead and buy a ticket book. So frequent riders and commuters can save money if they pre-purchase a monthly pass. And another way to do so is through the 10-ride ticket books. Okay, so once you've got, sorry, apologies, I'm getting ahead of myself here. There is a couple ways that you can go about getting tickets without going into the grocery store. And one of them is the ticket vending machine that you'll see here on the right-hand side. There's a lot going on, so I'll kind of explain of what are all the things that you can push on here and all the different signs that you'll see. The ticket vending machines are located at every rail and Flatiron Flyer station, so they pretty much all look the same as you'll see here. And they'll allow you to purchase the 3-hour passes we talked about, upgrade to a day pass. So say you bought a type of pass and you're just thinking, oh, you know, I need an upgrade. I'm actually going to be using the pass all day. I want an unlimited use of this pass. So you can upgrade using these kiosks, and you can do so using cash or credit or debit cards. The one thing I will say about using cash, credit, or debit cards is there may sometimes be certain kiosks that will only do cash, and then there'll be one right next to it that's a credit debit. So that would be typically posted on the kiosks. I've seen it posted right below where it says ticket, actually in between where it says tickets and come aboard. So if you look at the photo there, there is a little blank spot, and that's sometimes where they'll put a sticker that says cash only or credit debit only. And then sometimes it won't say anything at all, which usually means they'll take all three. So you can purchase your tickets in 5 simple steps. It's a touch screen, so you'll go up to the tickets, the kiosk, and push what you'd like. So make a selection of the type of ticket you'd like, and then select the quantity of tickets. So for example, I'll go over there and say, okay, local fare, and I'd like to purchase a senior ticket for my mom. And then her friend wants to come along, so I select 2, and then I go ahead and say, okay, I'll check out, and it'll give me my total, and then I'll go ahead and make my payment, cash or credit, and then it'll dispense right below at the bottom there. So sometimes it takes a few seconds, but it'll dispense the tickets there. And so it'll provide you a paper ticket, and that's what you'll use. It'll have a timestamp on it, and you're ready to go. There is an area where you can put coins on the cash ones, and so you know, just again, something that you could consider. If you decide that you are going to go with a pass, so you've got an annual pass, or you've got a MyRide card, there's other types of passes that we have, and so some communities in this neck of the woods actually do have eco passes or neighborhood eco passes, and that is just a type of pass that that is paid for, and pretty much once you have one of those, it doesn't really bill you for every single one as an individual, but it may bill a portion of it to your employer. So eco passes are via employers, and eco passes are via neighborhoods. That's why they're called NECO passes for neighborhood. There's a flex pass, a college pass, and all of these pretty much work the very same way when you go to use them. So you'll look for one of these validators. So the one on the left is typically something you'll find at a rail platform. And then the one on the right is one that you would find as you're getting on the bus. So it's right there, right next to where you see the operator. What you're gonna do is select the type of fare that you want. There'll be a couple buttons on it. So on the left-hand side, you'll see there's kind of a couple white buttons on each side of the screen. That one's a little bit worn out, but they're supposed to be white buttons. And you select local, regional, airport. And once you select that, you tap the circle area. The bus one works the very same way. You'll have to select your type of fare. And if you're kind of lost on which one, or the button's not too visible for you, the bus operators, you know, usually very happy to help, will help push it for you. Or sometimes they'll just ask you and they'll push it, and all you got to do is tap. So those are very simple ways, but you go ahead and do that, and that way it checks you in. And of course, the important part there is it lets us know who's riding, and that way we keep track of a type of use and ridership. So it's good for us to also know if you're riding. And if you are still using the paper tickets, back to the 10 ride ticket books and some of the day pass tickets that you can purchase at the grocery store, you're going to have to validate them as well too. So right next to where the validator is for the cards that I just showed, you'll usually see this one here with a big V at top. It's a red post and a big V on top. And that is just where you kind of put your paper ticket, as you see there in the picture. You'll pop it in, it'll stamp it, and then it'll spit it right back. So you should definitely put it in there and make sure you wait for it to come on out. It'll stamp it and let everyone know that it's for use for that day. So it'll have the date and the time. We do sometimes have transit security officers on these vehicles, and they'll come around and check fare, and that includes coming over to you and maybe saying, hey, do you have your fare? And you'll present the paper ticket at that point, and that's when the stamp comes in handy, because they'll know that you validated it, and you know, of course, you've got your fare, but it's also valid for that date. All right, and here's the mobile tickets that we've been moving a little bit closer to, and we are adding functionality as we move along. So right now we have the 3-hour, the day, and the monthly passes available on here. And we also have an option to pre-purchase tickets for future use, or purchase a ticket on the day of your travel. So you can either say, okay, well, I'm going to purchase a couple tickets and have them in the digital wallet and just use them when I'm ready, or if I'm ready to travel and it's today that I'm leaving, I can go ahead and go in there and buy them. You can buy up to 10 tickets. So perhaps, you know, I'm traveling, or you're traveling with some family members, and you're going to the airport, so you can go in there and you can get the day pass, and you can say up to 10 people, and it'll be in there. And you can also do that for just yourself if you wanted to. The pre-purchase option really just means that I can go in there and purchase. Say I want to buy 5 tickets today because I know I'm going to use them, and they keep in the digital wallet, and they'll stay in there for 45 days. And if even if they're not activated. So what you want to do is just, you know, kind of go bit by bit. So what I've seen some people do is purchase as they go along. So there's been times where, you know, you've got a train that's coming, and there's 2 ways to go about it. You can stop at the kiosk, select your ticket, put your money in, and hopefully if the train is coming, you know, you got to get on that train soon. Hopefully you're able to make it. There's other people who have this mobile ticket app, and I've seen them jump on, and then they get their phone out and they go into their phone, open their mobile ticket app, and buy their tickets. Or if they've got one in their wallet, they just go and activate it. And again, our fare checkers will come by and they'll ask for these type of things. And if you've got your mobile ticket app, that's what they're going to be asking for. You do have to activate the tickets before boarding. It's just the very same thing. It's a digital version of stamping your paper ticket with a timestamp or tapping your card and activating it. The tickets, activated tickets automatically expire at 2:59 in the morning, the following morning after you've used them. I should say used, even if used. So what I mean by that is I can buy a ticket at 8 a.m. and I've activated it and say it's a day pass. Well, it'll expire at 2:59 a.m. And so that's kind of a way that it works. The activated tickets do have a timestamp, as I mentioned, and that moves. There's a pattern on the screen for each and every one, so that it's different, and that's how our fare checkers are able to know that, hey, this is for today and not a screenshot and the same ticket being used every single day. All right. So as aside from planning your ticket game, you also have a couple options here as you're going to go to the station. Most people end up driving their car to their local station and then going from there. So that's, you know, that's kind of saves them a little bit of time, especially if you are commuting. That seems to be the way that most people go. Then if you are doing this and your car is registered within the RTD district, so if you remember, it's a pretty big district, almost size of Rhode Island. So you want to make sure your car is registered within that district. If you're not sure, you can always go on the RTD website, look up RTD parking, and there's an area where you can plug in your license plate number, and it'll mention if you are within district. So what we're using there is your DMV registration. We have that information, so we'll know, okay, well, this vehicle is registered to this city and county, and yes, it happens to be within the district. So then, say you are registered, you will then park for free for the first 24 hours, which is the very typical way that people use our parking. They'll come and park for the day, go to work, and then come back and take their vehicle. If by chance you are going, say, to the airport, or you are going to be parked for a couple days, then after the first 24 hours, then it'll be $2 per day. So not as steep as downtown, definitely. And I don't know when the last time RTD raised prices. I think it's been like that for a number of years, if not since inception, because $2 is a great value. If your car is registered outside of the RTD district, you'll pay the steep whole price of $4 a day. And you'll pay them at the kiosk that you see here on the right-hand side. So I'll walk through that here in just a second. Vehicles could park for no longer than 30 consecutive days. So there are times where, yeah, you have to take a vacation and it's going to be 1, 2, or 2 weeks or whatever it might be. But if it hits 30 days, it cannot be parked there. So you might have to make other arrangements at that point. But I don't know how many of us are taking 30-day vacations these days. So just keep that in mind in case something does happen and your vehicle does end up staying there longer. And if you can pay, again, at the pay station that you see here on the right, there's a couple of things going on in this pay station. It's kind of hard to see with the picture, but a couple of things you want to pay attention are, of course, at the very top, it says pay here on the right side, and on the sign there, it has a circle with a P, so that is the pay station, not to be confused with maybe the validator and the other stuff we have going on at a station. And you'll go there, you can enter your license plate number. So before you leave your car, maybe you take a photo of your license plate so you don't forget it on the way. I'm terrible with numbers and letters, so I know I do that specifically. And you can type in your license plate number there on the keypad, and it will tell you then and there, this car is within district. So then it'll ask you to put in the number of days. So if I put in 5 days and my car is in district, it'll compute the number of days that I need to pay for. So in that instance, my car's in district, so I don't pay for the first day, but I'm going to be gone for 5 days. So it'll only charge me for 4. So it'll compute that and ask you for the payment accordingly. So aside from that, there's also another possibility that you could pay on a mobile app. So this one here happens to have the Park mobile app. We're changing over to another app, which you'll find the stickers and information on these kiosks as well. But in this instance, the app information is the little green sticker there at the bottom. I believe it has a QR code on that one. it also has a code for this particular park and ride has a parking code. So what you can do is download the app and then look up the parking lot code that's on that sticker, and then you can pay via the app. So you take that information down, you take your license plate info, and then you can pay. The good thing about that is if you're going on vacation and you realize, hey, I'm going to stay a couple more days because you know, I want to visit family and I have to pay for parking. Well, you don't have to worry about it because via the app, you'll be able to say, okay, I'm just going to add a few more days and I can pay, and it's all set. One thing you don't want to do is to put the ticket that is kind of, once you pay it, it pops out a paper ticket. You do not put that on your dash. It's more for you to, it's a receipt, let's call it that. It does have a time and date stamped on there, and it'll say how many days you're going to be gone for. So if you put it on your dashboard, somebody may come by and say, oh, well, they're not coming back for another week and a half. I have plenty of time to break into this vehicle and not be reported. Or I have plenty of time to steal this vehicle and go for a joyride before they even notice it. So you definitely don't want to leave that on the dash. Just not a very good giveaway. We do have cameras, and our parking lots are well lit, and we do our best by having our security teams come around often. We have a lot of staff that come in maintenance, so you have a lot of eyes in the area, but we're not 100% theft deterrent. You know, somebody could still steal a vehicle, and our cameras may catch that instance, but they're not stopping them in the first place. Some of the park and rides that are out in the district are called park and rides, but they are not an RT. I'm sorry. Some of the park and rides are called park and rides, but we're in a agreement with maybe a city for putting that there. So it'll say RTD parking, and there will be a different kind of charge because the city runs that. So one example I can think of is one in Aurora. I think there's a couple north. I don't think there's any in any of your cities, but again, if you're traveling anywhere within the district, this could come up. So I would say check the RTD website to see what fees apply. You want to use the list of RTD park and rides if you want to pay these types of fees. Otherwise, it'll mention, hey, this is a park and ride. You can park here and then use the RTD system, but you're going to have to pay a completely different fee, which would be and should be posted. So, you know, it could be the typical fees that you might see anywhere else, $10 for a half a day or whatever it might be. And some of those also change if there's events. So something just to keep an eye on. It doesn't happen often. One question I do get often, though, is the parking lot at 61st and Pena an RTD parking lot, or is it one that is a park and ride that another partner runs? And it's the latter of the two. It is not considered an RTD parking lot. RTD customers could park there, but there is a completely different fee. And so the process that I explained here is not going to apply to that one. It's run by the city, so they have a completely different fee. And we get that question often because it's the last station before the airport. So some people thought, well, I'll park in the last station before the airport, and then I'll take the train and I'll pay, you know, they're thinking, oh, it'll be a low fee. But unfortunately, because it's so close to the airport and it's not our station, I think the fees are quite significant. All right. And so now let's go over to trip planning. I think this is kind of where a lot of people are probably wondering, how do I even get started on figuring out where to go and what trips to take and what buses and transfers I need. And I think this is going to be one of the better places to go. So before you get started, you want to try to go onto the RTD website, which is rtd-denver.com, and look at the trip planner. So you'll put your starting address there where it says number 1, and you can put the station, you can put an address. The only thing about an address is you don't typically want to put the whole thing. You can put the street number, the street name, and maybe the city, and it actually will auto populate and it'll pull down a list of ones you should select from. Because when you start adding your zip code, I think it does get a little wonky. At least I've noticed that, and a couple of customers have told me that. So just a tip there, a user tip to avoid that. And then you'll put, of course, your end time. And then on the right-hand side in the blue square, you'll push under number 3, you'll push plan your trip. And then what it'll do is it'll take you kind of to another screen, and it'll show you, okay, here's your trip. You want to leave by a certain time, so you can take these different options. And so it might have a combination of bus and rail. It might have a combination, or it might be just all bus, or it might be all rail. So it'll give you a couple options. You're able to say, I want the best trip. I want the trip with, no walking. And you're also able to say, I want to leave at this hour, or select, I want to arrive by this hour. So it'll work for you in those kinds of manners. If this is something that you can't access because say you're on the way, or you're already out there, out in the field, and you're at a station and you think, oh gosh, I forgot what I planned on. You can always call our customer care number. So I've got it here on the slide, easy to remember, 303-299-6000. So again, it's 303-299-6000, and they'll be happy to help you plan your trip. They're there Monday through Friday, regular business hours, just something to keep in mind as well. So they may not be there if you're kind of confused and need to figure out something maybe at 2 in the morning, which is where these ones come in. So this is where the mobile trip apps come in. There's three different ones. You've got the RTD mobile app, which works very similar to the one I just explained. You've got the one that's, I think everyone might be familiar with, is Google Maps. All you have to do is select transit option right there in the middle, which is highlighted by the red circle. And then you've got the transit app, which is a very generic sounding name, but it is a really good app. I actually started using that one, and it's got even Lyft and Uber in there. So what it'll do is pick up your GPS if you've got that turned on, and it'll show you some rideshare in your area and different types of things like scooters. And so you've got all kinds of ways to connect. And you're also able to buy some tickets within the transit app. So that's kind of an all-in-one. Here's some quick tips for riding the bus. And I put this in here because I think back to when I was a new rider, and I kind of made all the mistakes that the don'ts. So here's the do's. Of course, when you're boarding, you find your stop sign, your bus stop sign, with the route number on it. So it may be small, but you'll see all the bus routes listed on there. When the bus is approaching, on the front, you'll see the destination. So the good thing about trip planning in advance is you should know, okay, this bus goes from here to here, and the destination is the final one. So you'll see that at the top of the bus sign there, or the sign on the bus. Stand next to the bus sign, because if you're not near it, the bus driver might think you're walking past as a pedestrian, and they may not stop because they don't see any customers and have no need to stop. Also, make sure, of course, very, very simply, don't stand in the street. And once the bus is pulled out, it's gone. By law, we're not allowed to pull a bus back in once it's left a bay or a curb. So once it's gone, because of all the blind spots. It's safer to just wait for the next one. When you're on the bus and you're ready to get out, remember to stay alert. Ask your driver for help if you need it, and then request to stop 1 block before your destination. So most of our buses will have a sign that's lit up that says, okay, next stop is this intersection or this street. It'll sometimes you'll hear an auditory alert that says this is the next stop. And so when you hear your stops coming up, you make sure you pull the yellow cord, which is above the windows. And also there's a couple buttons located near railings by the exits that you can push on. I wanted to kind of mention that there's some FlexRide options, and you'll see that here in a list in just a moment. But here's an example of what a FlexRide is. The vehicle there at the bottom is a typical FlexRide vehicle. And then on the right-hand side is the Longmont FlexRide. We have 22 now of these FlexRide areas. And so these vehicles will travel in the area within their map. So you see here for the Longmont one, they cover quite an area, and it's all shaded in gray. And that means it's because this vehicle will stop pretty much anywhere in those locations as long as it's a legitimate address. So as long as they can look up the address, they will pick you up or drop you off there. So it's very similar to a rideshare, and it's available to everybody, and it's on a first come, first serve basis. So for example, at Longmont, you've got a couple areas you can board. You can book your trips online, or you can call, again, our customer care, pressing number 2 option when you dial in, and you can let them know, hey, I'd like to book this. and I'll be at this place, or even give them your street address and they'll come pick you up. It's kind of a door-to-door service. We also have the Flatiron Flyer, which is more of a regional route, but very popular for this area. And that is a really easy way to travel between Denver, Westminster, Broomfield, Louisville, Superior, and of course, Boulder. These vehicles travel on US 36 express lanes, so it makes it a pretty good way to get up and down. And of course, we're doing the driving, so it's even more seamless and easier to get from those areas down to Denver and vice versa. Each of the buses are kind of I guess an upgraded type of bus. They're coach buses. They have USB ports. You're able to charge your devices. They have reclining seats, footrests, and the seats are very comfortable. They also have areas underneath, as you can see in the picture there, to put luggage, equipment, or even a bike. So it's kind of got it all. And this is a good way, if you're going to downtown or commuting for work, this is an excellent way to get to and from without having to deal with all the traffic. All right, so I'm going to go through the routes here really quickly, and I think we've got just a few minutes here, but I just got a list here of the Broomfield routes, and of course I'll provide this to Audrey here, but we've got the route 8, 19, 31, 76, 112, 120, 228, and the LD 1 and 3. The FF1 and FF5 are the Flatiron Flyers. So that's something that you might know if you're looking at a schedule, that we call them FF, the Flatiron Flyers. And then you've got the Broomfield FlexRide. So take a look at our website if you want to see the exact map and where that might be covering. But it's, again, a very good option. And for the typical price of what you would be using if it's a local fare that you're traveling, you use that on the FlexRide. The Lafayette routes, we've got 5 of them, the 225, the LD 1 and 3, and the dash and the jump. So sometimes we do have slightly different names and not numbers for our bus routes. In Louisville, we've got again, the 228, so that travels, you can see that crosses over into the two cities. The dash, the FF1 and 5, which travel down US 36, and they also have a FlexRide. And we've got Longmont routes. The route 323, 324, 26, 27, the LD 1 and 3, and the FlexRide. They've got a FlexRide as well. And Superior also has their own FlexRide, as well as an FF1 and 5 route, and the route 228. Before I talk about Union Station really quickly, just make sure you check our website. We did suspend some routes during the pandemic, so we are bringing them back as we see ridership come back. So any of those lists could change as we move forward. I've got here a map of the Union Station bus concourse just to kind of help guide you. So if you are taking any of those FF routes, for example, it'll bring you to the bus concourse, which is located underground underneath Denver Union Station. And so this could be a little bit disorientating when you arrive because you won't see technically windows, but you'll be in a bus concourse. So you can come up the stairs or escalators, and when you come up, you'll be at the Union Station plaza area. There are security cards 24/7. There's lots of skylights, and there's also free Wi-Fi in the bus concourse. And then above ground, right above the concourse, believe it or not, you're actually standing beneath the rail lines. And here is kind of an overhead idea of where the rail lines are. So on the left-hand side, we've got the Denver Union Station main hall. And then closest to it in blue, we've got the University of Colorado A line out to the airport. We've got the N line. We've got then the G line, oh, sorry, the B line, then the G line. Amtrak does come in periodically right down the middle, so they use the center lane there. So it kind of gives you an idea of where things are at. Also, once you're down at Union Station, you've got a couple options to travel up and down the 16th Street Mall area and over to Civic Center. I'll start actually by the bottom one, saying the free Metro ride is currently suspended, but it will be an option once things get up and running again. So for now, the top one, the red one, is the free mall ride, and it travels between Denver Union Station and Civic Center Station. It stops at every single block, and it operates every single day. There are some adjustments to schedules during the weekends. This is a map of exactly what I was just mentioning. So on the left-hand side, you see Denver Union Station, and it goes all the way to the light rail platform at Chestnut. And then, of course, every single block that you see between there and Civic Center, the free mall ride will stop. So a great way, if you haven't already, to get downtown. Once you get downtown, you don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about how you're going to get around and still be able to go to the shops. So it's very, very well connected. And lastly, I do want to leave a few moments for questions here, but I wanted to mention that there are a couple of things that you can do to connect with RTD. I know some of you are newer to the system, but we do have a fare study and equity analysis coming up and underway. If you had used fares or have used looked at some of our maps and find that maybe it's confusing, this is a time where we like to hear from you. So we'll start that process early next year. Some of you who have been in the region for a while might be interested in knowing that the board has approved a study. So this is to update the previous study, but this study will update the Fast Tracks Northwest Rail line study that we did a few years ago. And what we're looking for here is to see if there's any ways in which we can improve the original plans, if there's anything that's changed with populations or employers, and maybe if there's a way we can work with other projects in the area. And then lastly, if you wanted to ask some more questions, especially if we didn't get to them tonight, we have 15 telephone town halls kicking off next Wednesday and running through November 4th. And that is something that's a 1 hour long event. We have a series of different staff. You can ask any question you'd like. And if we're able to get to it, we'll answer it live. So that website is rtd-denver.com/townhall, and you can find the dates and pre-register so you'll get a call when the event starts. All right, so this is where we get into the questions. I didn't hear any along the way, but I hope that you were able to remember them and we can answer them now.
Just had a couple questions regarding the FlexRide. I was looking online. So the FlexRide currently is in service, or is part of that suspended due to COVID protocol?
So it's actually in service, and we are going to be extending some of the hours, as a matter of fact, with the next service change that we're proposing that goes into effect in January.
Great. And can you go over again the areas, like where you said it was in Longmont, and there's 24 different areas or something? Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, there's 22 different areas, and so yeah, pretty much just about every one we listed here, which applies to you guys. But I don't know the whole list of them. But we have one in Superior, we have one in Longmont, Lafayette. I think Louisville had one too. So when you go to the website, in fact, maybe
Actually, I just found the map. So they're
okay. I was just gonna say maybe I can show you. So well,
Yep,
let's share with what you found with everyone else. Meaning I'll tell them where it's at. You just kind of go to the bottom.
Yeah, I searched for FlexRide, and once I got to the FlexRide page, toward the very bottom of that, it says see a full map of the FlexRide service areas, and there's a link to a PDF document there.
Right, and you're able to see the map there and everything. So
yeah,
what I want to show everyone, and I'll just, I guess, get back in there, and I don't know if I can still share my screen here.
And Christina, we have 6 minutes left, and I see DJ has her sign or hand up too.
Oh,
so
okay.
just want to make sure we get to everything.
Okay, sounds good. Then I'll come back to that, but I think it's pretty easy. Once, like you said, once you get to the bottom of the page, it also talks about the fares on the FlexRide page. So again, if it's a local fare, meaning you're only going locally, you're not going very far within a FlexRide vehicle, it's only $3.
DJ, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, is it on the website where we find where the stations actually are located by our home?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to go about that, but you could find it on the website and take a look at the different types of maps that we have. But one of the maybe easier ways to do it might be to download the app. If you're not opposed to having one more app, you can do the transit app, for example, or one of the ones that I mentioned. the transit app will pick up your GPS, and then you'll be able to see on the map and zoom in and out and say, okay, these are the things that are near me. And you can even type in there, I'm going to start here at this home address, and then I want to go to whatever downtown or to my doctor's office. And it'll make the recommendation for you based on when you want to leave or when you want to arrive. And like I said, pick up the GPS. It also has live information. So if a train or bus is running behind it, it'll show it on that map.
Thanks, Christina. Are there any other questions before we close our webinar for tonight?
No question, but a comment. This is Sarah, based off the other comments and questions. There's also a system map available on the RTD website. So if you wanted to kind of zoom around and look at where all the major stations are and all the routes, that's another way to kind of look at the map. And I'll also put a plug for FlexRide and the new trip planner app. You can book your trip with the app for FlexRide, and it fully integrates with the fixed route system as well. So it will plan your entire trip. For example, getting from your home to the regional BRT station, and then if your destination is, let's say it's in Denver for something you're going to, it'll let you know what time that bus will be there at the station. So it will fully plan that trip for you. So I'd recommend checking it out.
Thanks,
Right.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Karen, is your hand up for a different reason, or?
I just wanted to interject another plug for the transit app for people if they're haven't used a certain route and you're sometimes uncertain where to get off the bus. On the transit app, you can track where the bus is and what are the upcoming stops. So it's kind of a handy way. I use it particularly when I'm in cities that I'm rather unfamiliar with. So you don't feel like, gosh, I'm on the bus, I don't know where to get off and what's the next stop or what route is it doing. So the transit app, you can look on your phone and track it in real time. And it just gives me good peace of mind, especially if it's a route I'm not super familiar with.
Thank you. Well, assuming there aren't any more questions or comments, I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening, especially you, Christina. On behalf of Commuting Solutions, thanks for being our partner here tonight. And also wanted to thank our local government partners, the City of Lafayette, City of Longmont, City of Louisville, Town of Superior, and the City and County of Broomfield for partnering in this How to Ride RTD webinar. So thanks for sticking around till the end. I am picking DJ to be the winner of the 10 ride ticket book tonight. So yay, DJ. I'll be in touch offline to make sure that you get that. So on behalf of Commuting Solutions, have a good evening and we'll see you on transit sometime soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.